like to start off by saying congratulations to the crowd, because very few Canadians, too few Canadians, actually take an active interest in personal finances, their personal finances. So it's great that you guys are actively investing, actively looking to invest. But tonight really isn't too much about investment real estate. What I want to talk, well, forget about investment real estate for a moment here. We'll get back to it. But who here owns their own home? A lot of hands. Who here has a mortgage on their home? A lot of hands. Okay, great. This is for you. So you're welcome. So your mortgage, that very thing that allowed you to acquire your home where you can live in peace and serenity, is also the very thing that threatens your peace and serenity. Why? Because it's so bloody expensive. They're not getting any cheaper these days, mortgages. And I'm sure a lot of you folks have done the math on what a property costs because you're in the business. But a lot of Canadians don't, because they don't want to do the math. Why don't they want to do the math? Because if you got a $400,000 mortgage at 6%, 25-year amortization, 38% marginal tax rate, how much do you have to earn in order to pay off that $400,000 bucks? $1,244,000 bucks. That is a lot of jig to pay off $400,000. Why does it cost that much? Well, you got to pay back that $400,000. Otherwise, they call it theft and you go to jail. But you also have to pay interest on all of that borrowing. But before you can make those principal and interest payments, you got to pay tax. So mortgages are hugely expensive, and they're killing a lot of people out there because they don't know how to put it towards their advantage, make it work towards their advantage. And we don't have it easy in Canada. We got high taxes. You guys all know this. We're consistently within the top 5 highest tax-paying citizenry on the planet. We pay around half of our total income to tax. We pay more in tax than we do on food, clothing, and shelter combined. We all know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Food, clothing, and shelter. The 3 things that we need for simple survival. Well, we got to pay more in tax than we do on all of those combined. Inadequate pensions. Who here has a corporate pension plan? A few people. Not all and not most. Very few Canadians do have a corporate pension plan or a government pension plan. And we're seeing those who do have a pension plan are seeing them increasingly turn from defined benefit to defined contribution, meaning you no longer know what you're going to get in retirement. All you know is what you're paying in. So that move, that shift is to the detriment of the pensioner. Mortgage expense, I talked about that. Terribly expensive, not getting any cheaper. We're single, life is grand. We get married, life is grander, right? My wife's not even here, and I still said that. But then we have kids, braces, summer camp, tuition, all the life adds up. Now we have to contend with inflation. Well, we always do, but it's relatively high now. On and on and on it goes. Life is not easy. We have to take action. You folks in Vancouver are, and that's fantastic, but not a lot of Canadians do. But we have to. If we don't, if we keep our head in the sands, then we're going to have it pretty tough. And we Canadians generally have 2 very, very pressing goals financially. We want to pay off this expensive mortgage we have. We also want to be able to retire someday. But the decision on which of these 2 goals to attack first is not made by us, it's made for us. Because nobody cares if we don't put money aside for our future, for our retirement. Nobody cares. But somebody certainly does care if you don't make your mortgage payment. They're going to come knocking on your door. And so we take this sequential approach to these financial affairs. We decide, well, if I have to make my mortgage payment, I'm going to concentrate on making that mortgage payment. Because of limited financial resources, I don't have the money to invest for my future, but I've got no option. I've got to attack this mortgage. And so we forego years and years and years of compound growth. We miss out on a lot of growth. And where can that lead? A lot of different destinies if we're not saving adequately for our futures. Living on a small fixed income. A lot of you people probably know someone who lives in a house. It's clear title. It's worth $800,000 bucks. They paid off the mortgage years ago, and they're living off OAS and CPP. Right? It's not comfortable. Being financially reliant on our children, right? That's a tough one. Hey, son, hey, daughter, can I borrow some money? And, it's tough out there. A lot of people are experiencing that. Being forced to downsize. You've lived in your home for years and years and years. You don't have retirement income. You're unemployed. You're retired. And you have to downsize. You have to sell, move into a condo somewhere. Being forced to sign up for reverse mortgage. Now, reverse mortgages are helpful for people who need them. These are for people who are in a position where it's too late to do anything. They're of that age. They don't have the retirement income. So they sign up for reverse mortgage. What are they doing? This is oversimplified, but they're selling their house back to the bank. They've worked for the bank for 25, 30, 40 years. They hit retirement, managed to be clear title same day. Fantastic. Congratulations. Let's do the math. Holy cow, we're in trouble. What do we do? Start selling the house back to the bank. Or what's another potential destiny? Right? We all, you'll notice it even more now. You walk into a Burger King, a Walmart, a Costco, and there are a lot of senior citizens there because they have to be there. They're working because they have to work. They'd rather be playing with the kids, gardening, golfing, whatever the case may be, but they have to work because they weren't prepared for retirement. So nobody has our backs. Nobody cares about us. Government doesn't care about us. So how can we take care of ourselves? Well, if we have a house, if we have a mortgage, we have the ability to reduce our tax bill, to eliminate costly expenses as fast as we can, to invest for our future as early and as often and as much as possible. And that's where this strategy comes in. But we have to talk about debt first. That's a very important discussion when we're talking about this strategy. Two types of debt. And tax-deductible debt. Non-deductible debt is expensive. If you got a loan statement, it says you're paying 6% on this money, you're actually paying 6%. That interest goes to the bank or whoever you borrowed the money from, and it's gone. And it's non-deductible, which means you've acquired that debt because you've bought a consumption item. What consumption item? A car, a motorcycle, a trailer, RV, clothes, fancy dinners, right? So you're buying this asset, it's relatively expensive, and the day you buy it, it starts depreciating in value. The value of this asset goes down, down, down. Eventually it disappears. And you've got this debt, you're paying a high rate on it. We call that wealth destruction. Wealth creation, however, refers to tax-deductible debt. If my loan statement says I'm paying 6%, but I'm the 50% marginal tax rate, I'm only paying, 3% for that money. It's tax deductible. It's very cheap. And the only reason I get the benefit of these tax deductions is because I bought an asset which is likely to appreciate in value over time. This is what we call wealth creation. The wealthy understand these two types of debt. They understand this difference very, very clearly. That is one of the primary reasons they are wealthy. They understand how to use debt to their advantage. And a lot of people, they measure their wealth, their financial health by how little debt they have. But the true measure of our wealth is net worth. Shouldn't be how much or how little debt we have. We can see here who's better off net worth-wise, the person with debt, right? Your mortgage is one of your biggest investment opportunities. Unproductive equity equals negative return. You folks in Vancouver, you understand this very well, right? You buy a rental property as soon as you can, you pull equity from it, you go buy another one. Not a lot of people understand this. And so they make their mortgage payments, that mortgage balance goes down, 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 down. The equity in that home goes up, 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 up. And they say, hey, look at this. I now only owe $50,000 on my mortgage. I'm doing really well. They got $800,000 that's been doing absolutely nothing for them all these years, right? Because if it's not working for you, it's working against you. You're getting a negative return because of inflation. So you need to, in my humble opinion, you need to invest your equity now rather than consume it later. If I'm accessing the equity in my home as fast as I'm creating it, putting it to work, I'm enjoying compound growth. If I don't, I pay off that mortgage, all this equity in the home is doing nothing for me all these years. Then I hit retirement. I don't have the cash flow. I sign up for a reverse mortgage. I'm consuming that equity because when I get that money from the reverse mortgage, I'm not investing it. I'm spending it. That's funding my retirement. So what does the Smith Maneuver do? The Smith Maneuver converts your 100% non-deductible mortgage debt to 100% tax-deductible debt. Each month, you're generating valuable and increasing tax deductions. You're able to eliminate your expensive mortgage in record time. Each month, you're able to invest money you wouldn't otherwise have available. This all happens now. This all happens simultaneously. The benefits grow exponentially. Tax deductions get bigger and bigger each year. The investment portfolio gets bigger and bigger each year. The amortization on your mortgage goes down faster and faster each year. And it requires no additional cash flow from the homeowner on a monthly basis. Fantastic. So how does it work? Well, each month you're going to make the regular mortgage payment. You're not doing the Smith Maneuver, you got a mortgage payment. You're doing the Smith Maneuver, sorry to tell you, you still got a mortgage payment. That doesn't change. But if you have the right type of financing, the limit on the secured line of credit increases dollar for dollar as you pay that non-deductible amortizing mortgage debt down. And I'll do a description of the readvanceable, but you pay it down, the line of credit limit increases dollar for dollar. What do? You invest it. Invest in what? I don't care. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, REITs, mix, investment real estate, invest in your business, invest in somebody else's business. There's a huge, wide range of investment options out there. That's up to you and your investment advisor. What this strategy does is it makes that money available to put to work. You do this each and every month. Mortgage payment drops that balance. You pull that back out. You get it invested. And because you're generating this tax deductible debt by this monthly investing, you get a tax break. When that arrives each year, you make an extra payment against your mortgage. You pull that out to invest as well. So this is free money from the government. Because of the tax deductions, we all know what happens. I got a job every 2 weeks. I get a paycheck. I look, how much does the government take? Right? But when I send my tax return in, because I've got all this tax deductible debt they didn't know about, they say, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith. We took too much money from you over every 2 weeks for the past year. We owe you money back. I take that, I prepay my mortgage, pull it out and invest. So here's a typical mortgage. When you say the word mortgage, this is what everyone thinks about. I scrimp a down payment together. I go to the bank, hey, lend me $400,000. I want to buy a house. Sure. All of that debt is not tax deductible. It's very, very expensive debt. What we need to implement the strategy is a readvanceable mortgage. And this is kind of what it looks like. They're all different. There's a lot of them out there. They function differently. They look differently. But the fundamental principle is that effectively, I've still got that $400,000 of non-deductible debt, but I've also got a line of credit. And these two sides speak to each other. So when one side goes down, at bad debt in the blue, that limit on that line of credit increases. So here I got a $2,560 mortgage payment. $1,975 of that goes to interest, right? Isn't that ugly? It's gone. That's the price I pay for borrowing that money. But $585 does reduce principal. So that $400,000 balance goes down by $585. That line of credit, the limit increases dollar for dollar. I pull that $585, I invest. In what? Again, that's up to you. That's up to you and your investment advisor, but you get it invested. The principle on which this functions is the fact that the CRA says if we borrow to consume, you cannot deduct the interest. So again, cars, boats, toys, food. However, if we borrow to invest with the reasonable expectation of generating income, we can deduct the interest. And that's what you guys are doing when you invest in real estate, stocks, bonds, right? And that's what we're taking advantage of here. So I make my mortgage payment, the balance goes down, the line of credit limit increases, I pull it out to invest. I do this every month. Annually, I get a tax break. That refund comes in, I pay down, pull that out to invest as well. By the end of the conversion process, I still have $400,000 worth of debt. And this is where a lot of people go, oh, what? What are you trying to do to me here, right? We have to remember, however, that this is fully tax deductible, and that does fantastic things for your tax bill. You're making annual mortgage payments. So you're getting rid of that mortgage faster. And the faster, any mortgage broker will tell you, the faster you pay down that bad debt, the less you're paying in interest on that mortgage. And because we're investing each and every month and we're investing our annual tax refunds, we're taking advantage of compound growth with that investment portfolio. So what's it worth? Well, for the typical Canadian homeowner, we're seeing results between $300,000 to $400,000 net worth improvement over a typical 25-year AM, and about 2 to 3 years off the amortization. So a 25-year mortgage, it's that bad debt's completely gone in 22, 23 years. But there are a number of accelerators we'll talk about, and we're quite frequently seeing net worth improvements of close to or over $1 million over a 25-year AM. But instead of 25, they're gone. That mortgage is gone in 10 years or less. So what are these accelerators? Cash flow diversion, debt swap, drip, prime the pump, cash flow dam. So cash flow diversion. I've got my mortgage. I'm now implementing the Smith Manoeuvre, but it just so happens that I'm one of the fortunate Canadians who does have a little bit of money each and every month that I can afford to invest for my future. So what happens each month is my income comes into my checking account, and I've told my investment company, hey, just take $400 a month, invest it, right? I don't even want to see it, in and out. Well, I'm missing out on an opportunity here because, oh, sorry, $300 in this example. What I can do is after my check comes into my bank account, I can take that $300 that I was directing Investly, but instead make a prepayment against my mortgage. I'm still making my mortgage payment, but I'm also overpaying that mortgage by $300. And of course, that's then made available on the line of credit. I pull it out and then I invest it. So I'm still investing $300 a month. No additional cash has come out of my pocket. I was investing $300 a month before. I still am, but I'm really compressing the amortization of that mortgage and generating tax deductions at an increasing rate. The debt swap, that $300 a month that I've been investing each and every month has grown to, let's say, $10,000. Let's just call them mutual funds. I got $10,000 worth of mutual funds. I want to look at taxation. What's the effect there if I redeem them for cash? Do I have a capital gain, capital loss? But I can make the decision to sell my mutual funds, take that cash, make an extra payment against my mortgage. Again, I can re-access it on the line of credit side. What do? I pull it out. I buy the exact same mutual fund I just sold a week earlier. I can buy a different investment if my mutual funds haven't been performing. I can do whatever I want on the investment side. This hasn't cost me anything out of pocket. I still have the same amount of debt. I had $400,000 before. I still have $400,000 after I implement this, but I've just done really good things to my tax bill because $10,000 of that is now deductible. I can do this with cash. I've been a good boy. I've worked really hard. The boss Christmas time says, here's your bonus, $10,000. I take that $10,000. I go home. I open up a beer. I say to myself, okay, what do I want to do with this? You know, I know I'll search online what to do with this. I'll get great advice. Well, half of the people online are saying, invest that 10 grand. The other half are saying, pay down your mortgage. There's only one guy saying, do both, right? Pay down your mortgage, pull it back, and then invest. The DRIP accelerator, dividend reinvestment plan. So that $10,000 of mutual funds, that has the ability to send me dividends, whether it's monthly or biannually or annually or whatever the case may be. What a lot of people do is they say, hey, I'm in this for growth. I want my money to grow. I don't want to see that $300 in dividends. I know I'll just spend it on shoes or something like that. So automatically buy me more units. What did I do? I'm going the wrong way. Automatically buy me more units of that mutual fund, shares of the stock, whatever it is. But what I can do is say, hey, I do want to see that cash. Every time I've got the opportunity to earn dividends, I want to see that in my bank account because what am I going to do? You guessed it. I'm going to prepay my mortgage, pull it back out, and then buy the exact same asset which sent me that dividend in the first place. Or I can buy a different asset. The more you pay down your mortgage, the more frequently you pay it down by as much as you can, the faster it goes away. And you're going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars. Prime the pump. And so this is where real estate investors might start to get a little excited here because Sometimes it's difficult to figure out where you're going to get the funds to buy your first property or your second property. But if you're going to do this, if you're going to look for a new property, you're thinking about using your home equity to do so, get set up for the Smith maneuver right off the bat. Do it at the same time. Because well, let's say I go out and I get the right type of mortgage. What happens is the new lender who offers the readvanceable mortgage, they're going to get my house appraised. And let's say it comes in at $500,000. Well, lenders who offer readvanceables, they won't lend over 80%. That's the hurdle here. But it so happens that my current mortgage, which doesn't work for the strategy, is $400,000. So fantastic. That's all I need. So the lender gives me 400. That pays out the old mortgage. And now what do? I start to do the Smith maneuver with the regular mortgage payment, maybe some of the other accelerators that we looked at earlier. But what happens if my house appraises at $800,000? The lender, based on my income and all that, and credit and all that good stuff, they might say, okay, we'll lend you 80%. What's that? $640,000. But I only need $400,000 to pay out the mortgage that doesn't work, which means, and we're ignoring the 65% HELOC rule here, this is just for concept, which means if I need 400,000, but they're willing to lend me 640, I've got 240,000 immediately available credit on that line. And I can pull that out. I can do whatever I want with it. I can buy myself a Lamborghini. I can go around the world 6 times. I can pull that $240,000, throw it in the fireplace and burn it. The bank doesn't care. They got the house as security. They're fine. But if I'm going to be wise with this mortgage, which is a tool, I'm going to invest it. Securities, a new business, investment real estate. Bless you. So I've gone out, I've got my first investment property, let's say. Now I have the opportunity to implement the cash flow down. And what a lot of Canadians do, what maybe many of you folks did, is you got your first property, you went and set up a bank account, and you're using it only for that rental business. Rental income comes in, then the money goes out because you got to pay the expenses on that property, right? Now, in this case, we're looking at a cash flow neutral position here. But again, we're missing out on an opportunity because what I can do is when that $3,000 of rental receipts come in, I can take that and pay down my own mortgage, make a prepayment against my mortgage. Line of credit opens up. I pull that $3,000 out. Then I send it to my bank account, which is dedicated to my rental property. And then I take care of the expenses, the mortgage on that rental property, maintenance, property tax, all that stuff. So any mortgage broker will tell you that if you're making your mortgage payment, but you're also paying an extra $3,000 against that mortgage, that's when we're seeing a 25-year mortgage gone in 6 years. Very, very powerful stuff. And here I am talking about all the time, the Smith maneuver doesn't require any additional cash flow to come from your own pockets to implement. We didn't see any additional cash come out of our pockets there. And so I hear this all the time. Okay, Smith, before I'm doing the Smith maneuver, I had a mortgage payment. After I'm doing the Smith maneuver, I still have a mortgage payment, but I've also got this line of credit balance that's increasing, and I have to make that payment each and every month. And if it's not coming out of my pockets to do so, where the heck is that money coming from? And the answer lies in the increasing efficiency of the regular mortgage payment. So I got a $400,000 mortgage. I make my very first payment, column C there, $2,214. Of that, $1,486 goes to interest. Again, this is why mortgages are so expensive. But $728 in this example reduces principal. I can access that $728. I can pull it out to invest. The next month, I still make a $2,214 payment. That doesn't change, it's constant payment. But a little bit less goes to interest, which means a little bit more goes to principal. So I can access $730. I pull that $730 out. The lender says, okay, you borrowed $728 the first month. We want our interest. So they come in, they take $2 in interest. And if my math is correct, 730 minus 2 is 728. So I got the same amount to invest. The next month, same 2214 payment, a little bit more to pull out. $5 goes to interest. Again, I'm investing 728. So that is the principle on which the fact is that I don't need to come out of pocket each and every month to implement this strategy. Now, Rates go up, rates go down. So maybe I've got $1,000 to invest. Rates go up, maybe I've got 995 to invest. Rates go down, now I got 1,005 to invest. So we got to watch this, got to monitor it, but that's how it works. So this is a quick demonstration of the Smith Manoeuvre calculator. This is, I'm going to hit next and you might get some sound on that. Normally I've got my recorded voice on this, but it's not hooked up to the speaker. So I'm going to try to narrate this here. Okay. All right. So here I'm creating a new scenario. And in we go. And so different types of income here, but I'm just going to throw in, what do I throw in? $150,000 of employment income. And I own a rental property. And that is generating, I forgot my glasses, $36,000 in annual revenue. The annual expenses on my rental property are $34,000. I've got some mutual funds that are valued at $30,000. Non-registered, I've had them for a while, current value 30 grand. I've also got $10,000 in emergency funds. This estimates my marginal tax rate based on my income. If that's not exactly correct, I can input the actual. My house is worth $750,000. The current mortgage balance on that house is $450,000, and my interest rate on that is 2.9%. Don't laugh. I will address that afterwards. So that's a $2,107 monthly payment, and the readvanceable line of credit is 2.45%. I didn't do this video just yesterday or anything. So plus 0.5%. So I get my borrowing rate on the HELOC side. This defaults to an 8% forecasted growth rate on the investment portfolio that I'm contributing to. This says I've got $769 to invest month one. So that's what I can start to pull out and invest. And I'm going to pull all of that and invest it, right? I don't have to pull all of it, but I'm going to pull all of it. And so we see a taxation improvement. My tax deductions over the original 25-year AM, boom, just by doing that, $110,000, $388,000 net worth improvement just by getting invested each and every month for the next 25 years, $769, which isn't coming from my pocket. This section here, I won't go into any detail, but this is regarding the 65% HELOC rule. I can adjust how much I accept from the lender, and I can change my results. So we haven't seen any amortization improvement because I haven't selected to use my tax savings as an annual prepayment against that mortgage and get that invested. So 0 years saved and 446 net worth improvement. If I apply my annual tax refunds against the mortgage, I will see 2.33 years saved and a $550,000 net worth improvement, just using my mortgage payment and the money the government sends me back. So I've indicated already I got $30,000 in mutual funds. I can debt swap this, sell the asset, take the cash, pay down my mortgage, pull it back out, get it invested. 4.6 years saved, $791,000 net worth improvement. Emergency cash, $10,000 sitting in cash. It's doing nothing for me. It's nice knowing it's there. Do I have an alternate source for emergency funds? Maybe I got a personal line of credit I can use. I make that decision. Do I want to do this or not? In this case, yep, let's take all that cash, pay down my mortgage, pull it out to invest. Of course, we see improvements on the right side. Cash flow diversion. So this is if I've been investing each and every month. Instead of doing that right off the bat, I'm going to pay down my mortgage first, pull it back out. And the AM and the net worth improvement, 8.42 years and 1.16 million net worth improvement. Cash flow down. My rental property brings in $3,000 a month, costs me $2,833 a month. I'm going to prepay my mortgage by all the rental revenues, $3,000. When I pull it back out, $2,833 is going to go service the expenses on that rental property, and the difference I can get invested elsewhere, stocks, bonds, securities, whatever I want. My 25-year bad debt is gone in 6.75 years. Again, that's no new money anywhere along here coming out of my pockets. I don't talk about the drip accelerator here for time purposes. Prime the pump, based on my values, I have immediately available credit of $100,000 that I could pull and invest somewhere, anywhere I wish, right? That may require additional cash flow out of my pocket. I'm borrowing funds, new money, extra debt that I didn't have before. If I can't afford to service the interest on that, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. So the calculator automatically assumes, yeah, you're going to come out of pocket and make that extra prepayment against the mortgage. It's going to come through and then be available to service the interest. So tax refunds of $145,000, 25-year bad debt gone in 6.5 years, net worth improvement 1.7 million. So I have an investment portfolio of 2.2 million, but that debt that I've converted over time is valued at 484,000. Again, that's due to the 65% HELOC rule. It's not exactly the same amount of mortgage that I started with. So big improvements. So that green line descending to the x-axis over 25 years, that's what I signed up for with the bank. That blue line is what I'm actually doing, getting rid of it much quicker. And that red line is my investment portfolio. So that value offset by that total debt is what gives us that net worth improvement of $1.7 million. And then I can view and print a report, and it's going to tell me what to do on a monthly basis based on my numbers. So that is the Smith Manoeuvre calculator. Now here I'm going to address the fact that I was using absurd rates, which were real not too long ago. But with those low rates that we just saw, net worth improvement of 1.7 million, $316,000 in tax deductions, and 6.5 years reduced amortization. What happens if we use more realistic values, interest rates? 6% and 7.2 on that line of credit. That net worth improvement decreases a bit because the higher the rate, the less I have to invest each month. But look at the tax deductions, double. Why? Because the higher the rates, the bigger my tax deductions get. Bigger my tax deductions, the more I have to prepay my mortgage each year. The more I do that, the faster it's gone, which is why 6.5 years drops to 5.83. So to sum up here, each month you're able to invest money you wouldn't otherwise have available. You're generating valuable and increasing tax deductions. You're able to eliminate your expensive mortgage in record time. These benefits start now. These benefits occur simultaneously. No new cash from you is required. So smithman.net is our website. Master Your Mortgage for Financial Freedom is the book I came out with in 2019. My dad wrote his book in 2002, but it was time for an update. And of course, the Smith Manoeuvre calculator. We've got a Smith Manoeuvre homeowner course. But what I want to talk about real quickly here is the Smith Manoeuvre Certified Professional Accreditation Program. We had heard many, many times over the years. I was an active advisor for a dozen years, helping Canadians implement the strategy alongside my dad, based out of Victoria. We heard these people say, hey, I started to do the Smith Manoeuvre 7 years ago, but the reason I'm here talking to you today is because it turns out it wasn't the Smith Manoeuvre. I don't know what the heck this advisor put me into, or the mortgage broker, or my accountant, or whatever. There's just a tremendous amount of misunderstanding out there. You folks tonight already know more than a lot of investment advisors out there who are pushing this. So do not use anybody who's not a Smith Manoeuvre certified professional. Please trust me. Don't go to your bank and say, hey, I want to do the Smith Manoeuvre. I need a readvanceable mortgage. The banker's going to go, I don't know what the hell the Smith Manoeuvre is, but we got a readvanceable. Here you go. And chances are it's not the best for you. It could end up costing you. We've got Smith Manoeuvre certified professionals in all these various professions. In fact, we've got a few mortgage brokers here tonight. I'm seeing Sean Impey over there, Smith Manoeuvre certified professional mortgage broker extraordinaire. Cheryl Shaw is with us in the house tonight. Hello, Cheryl. And we got Keaton Kirkwood. I think you guys know him. Keaton's been working with Mogul Realty for about 4 years now. We've also got an SMCP investment advisor in Edmonton. I don't think he could make it here tonight. We've got a bunch in Calgary and in Vancouver. So reach out to smithman.net. We can connect you. with a Smith Manoeuvre certified professional near you. You guys can approach these folks, Sean, Cheryl, Keaton, tonight, anytime you want. Keaton, you told me earlier this evening you got a coupon code for discounts on the products on the website. I'm pretty sure Cheryl and Sean do as well. So SMCP program is very important for making sure Canadians have these professionals they can go to and be able to trust these professionals. You go to someone else, say, hey, do you know the Smith Manoeuvre? Yeah, sure, I'll help you with that. How do you know if they know what they're talking about? You don't. And this is what my dad used to say all the time: procrastination is the enemy of your financial success. And this is very true. If you don't do something today, chances are you're not going to do it tomorrow. So take action, do what you can, and look at that. There's a very special guest tonight. Hi, Rebecca. I have a newsletter. It goes out on pretty much a monthly basis, and every once in a while I have a contest, and the most recent contest was the best dad joke. And I don't know if it should be the best dad joke or the worst dad joke. But anyways, Rebecca was a winner of the last competition here, and her submission, I believe, was, what did the buffalo say to his son when he went to college? Bye, son. So she won. I reached out. She got a free calculator subscription, and we chatted. And she mentioned to me a milestone, and I realized it came out that she was from the Edmonton area. Hey, I'm going to be speaking at Mogul. I said, Rebecca, do you want to come and say a couple of quick words about what's going on with you? So, Rebecca, Wayland, do you want to come up?
Hi, everybody. I'm Rebecca Webster, and I heard about the Smith Manoeuvre probably just over 2.5 years ago in a real estate investment group that I was in on Facebook. And I got the book, I read it, I realized right away the power that it had. I do have rental properties in my personal name. So I did reach out to Sean Impey, who was one of the SMP brokers in the area. And we just figured out that with my current mortgage with TD, they actually let me convert it to one of their flex lines without even charging a penalty or anything like that. And when I talked to Rob the other day, I let him know that after 2 years and 5 months, I had actually just completed the Smith Manoeuvre process on my mortgage. So it can happen really, really fast if you're using the strategy of taking all your rental income and using it to pay your rental property expenses. And because I was in a 43% tax bracket with my job, the tax savings were really significant. So yeah, like I said, it can happen really fast if you're a rental property owner, and it's definitely worth the process. It's not very difficult because, like I said, most of the time I could actually make the extra payments online until I hit the maximum that I could pay every year. And then I didn't mind paying the little bit of extra interest penalty on my payments, but those ones I actually had to go to the bank to do. So we were able to put about just over $48,000 a year to convert over through the Smith Manoeuvre. So,
thank you, Rebecca. The check's in the mail. But I think it's rather fortuitous that Rebecca and I met just before this event. And so I did want to bring her up. And I do want to acknowledge that she brought her little one today. That's Wayland. Thanks for making the effort to come out, Rebecca and Wayland. And so that's all I got, everybody.